So good morning students, and once again back to today's computer class on QBasic. Now we will start off from where we had left yesterday. Yesterday in my class I explained to you the different types of statements, including the let statement, the print statement, the input statement, the end statement, the CLS statement. And along with that I had also explained about what is a constant and what is a variable. We spoke of constants. There are two types of constants, I repeat. Numeric constants used for storing number values. These values can either be decimal or integer. And then we spoke of string constants, where we stored a combination of numbers, special characters, and alphabets under this category. Then I spoke about variables, and I told you variables means when the value is varying every time you enter or execute or run a program. And variables again are of two types. One is the numeric variable, where you can enter only a number, and one is a string variable, where you can enter a combination of numbers and special characters along with alphabets. Now up to there yesterday students, I had executed a program and I had shown you. Now today's class we'll go further and we'll study about the different types of operators first. What are the different types of operators? That are the arithmetical operators, that is addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, and also relational operators, and what are the values they retain. And after that, if we have time, then I'll go on to conditional statement, if, then, else. So this portion is specifically what we have done already in class 6. I touched on all these topics in class 6. And now I'm revising it for you. So in class 7, since you are all going to do further programming in QBasic, you will have your basic fundas clear. So without wasting much time now, I'll move on and I'll start with the program straight away where we had left off. So on my screen, I have it minimized. Let me share my screen like I usually do, because it is more convenient for me to explain that way. So I'll share my screen and I'll load onto my program, which yesterday we had created. So this was your program yesterday, and all of you, I hope, understood. Again, for a quick review, here we took let statement, and I told you let statement is to be used with a constant. It can be a numeric constant or it can be used as a string constant, right? So here is an example of a numeric constant with the let statement. A is equal to 25. Then I said let B is equal to 12. Another example of a numeric constant. Then I also said let C dollar is equal to St. Paul's Mala Road, Kota. This is an example of a constant of string nature. And whenever you store a value to a string, always remember that the constant has to have a dollar sign preceding it. Put a dollar sign after the constant, whatever you are using, A, B, C, D, E, whatever value you do tend to use. And whatever you write, you have to put it within inverted commas or double quotes, not single quotes, please. Try and use double quotes. Similarly here, let D dollar is equal to 1, 2, 3 hyphen Dadabadi. Now this is an example, a perfect example of how we have used in a string numbers, a special character and alphabets. And this is what I am saying can be stored to a string. In numeric, we don't put $sign and we can only store numbers. And we don't put the numbers within inverted commas either. So this was two examples of a numeric constant, two examples of a string constant. Then we said input, enter third value, and we said X. This was the third value which we were using the input statement. And when we use the input statement, I told you, you generally write a message so that you know exactly what you are entering. So it will ask you third value, and this is an example of a numeric variable. X here is an example of a numeric variable because we have not given the value fixed. We have left it open. Then we said enter over here, and I'll say enter fourth value to Y. This is also an example of a numeric variable, right? Okay. Then we took over here input city name. And city name, if you see, we put a $sign after whatever variable we are using. That is for entering into a string variable. And then I put a CLS. I'll tell you why I put the CLS here. Because when you don't put the CLS, everything that is the values that you are entered will be coming along with the print statement. Now we have a set of print values, which you can see down here, all the print values. So for every input statement or let statement, we need to output the value. So here we got the value of A, B, X, Y, C dollar, D dollar, Z dollar. So similarly, we need to print these values to output these values. Here we are not doing any calculation just now. We'll come to that part. We have not used any type of arithmetic operators. And then we printed these values. And once again, I'll run this program for you. It takes a little time to start, but once it starts, then it is quick. So either you use run or you press your F5 key. Now you can see over here directly it is asking you enter third value. Now it is asking you enter third value directly here. It has come to this statement. These two statements are already, it is accepted because the value has been entered. So now you enter your third value. Another thing students remember that now since this value is a numeric value, if by mistake I try to type any alphabet, I'm pressing the alphabetic key, but no alphabet is typing. It will not accept any alphabetic or alphanumeric value because this is a numeric value. So I'll enter any numeric value, let us say 80. So it is accepted it. A numeric value will be accepted. But if you try typing, you can try it at your homes also. Try typing an alphabet and it will not accept. So please don't get worried and think that your program is not running because you are typing an alphabetic value here, and the alphabetic value cannot be stored without having a $sign behind the so-called variable. So 80, and I press enter key, enter fourth value. This statement is executing now, as you can see over here very clearly. And I type another value over here. Let me say 35. Okay. And I press enter key. Now you will see it will directly come to city name. It has come directly to this particular line. After these two statements here, it is not, this is already accepted by the computer. We have fixed these values. The city name, let me take Delhi. And as soon as I press the enter key, you will see over here that first value 25, second value 12 as said, third value 80, fourth value 35, fifth value which is over here already given to you in this sense, St. Paul's Mala Road Kota. This is coming fifth value of C dollar. It's coming in the next line because there is no much space. Excuse me. Sixth value 123 Dadabadi and the seventh value is Delhi. You can see over here Delhi, right? So this is how you enter the values. Okay. Now this was about whatever we had done yesterday. Now I told you whenever you have to save a program, please go and click on Save As. Now this program you can see by the name of fab1.biz is being saved, and it is being saved in this particular path. So you say okay, the file already exists, you say yes, overwrite it, and it is saved. Now you open, if you have an existing program, otherwise you go to a new program. So I have written the coding of yesterday's program as fab2 and I'll say okay. Now this is what I told you, you need not worry about. This is my coding for the display section. So this section is got nothing to do with you. This is only for my convenience that I am using it. All right. So now we come and now we start with what are relational operators and arithmetic operators. So let us take two values and we'll take it simply using the input. Enter first value to, let us say, X. Now you'll see this keyword will become in capital as soon as you type it. Then you say input enter second value. Now whatever text is displaying will be displayed in a yellow color. You can see over here very clearly, whatever text is being displayed will display in a yellow color. Keywords will always be in white and you will always have them in caps. So I entered two values. Now simply what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just take over here, let us say A for addition. A is equal to X plus Y. Then I'll say let S is equal to X minus Y. Then I'll say let M is equal to X into Y. We don't have a multiplication sign, we use the star sign over there. All right. I'm trying to use these variables A for addition, S for subtraction, M for multiplication. Let D is equal to any type of division X slash Y. Now this is how you use your division. Then we say let and exponentation E is equal to X exponent Y. So we've taken two values X and Y, and what we have done is we've added it, subtracted them, multiplied, division and exponential. Okay. Now we'll use the outputting statement. So for the outputting statement I told you use print. Okay. And for the printing we'll print first number or value, we can put it first value, whichever is the first value is stored to X. Then you'll say print second value. Don't worry much about spelling mistakes. If there are any, you can correct it. So it's printing these two first values, and now after that I'll use print addition as a print and multiplication as m. Okay, before that is we'll use subtraction also. So we say print s, right? Then we add multiplication. Then we'll say print exponentation to e and end. All right, so this is a small program where we entered two values and used all the arithmetic operators and see the result. So now we have it, and we'll press and start our program and see what happens. So we'll run this program where we are entering two values and performing different type of arithmetic operations on them. So it says enter the first value. Let me enter a simple value, 45. Right? Or let me take a smaller value. Let me take 5. And the second value, I enter it as 3. And I press my enter key. It says first value you entered was 5. Second value you entered was 3. The addition of these two is 8. This don't worry about the spelling. I'll correct it. It's subtraction. It should be subtraction. Okay. Subtraction. That is 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. Then the multiplication is 15 and the exponentation is 125. Exponentation means whatever value raised to the power of 3. That means 5 into itself thrice. 5 into 5, it's 25, and 25 into again itself 5 times means 125. So 5 exponent 3 means 5 into 5 into 5, which is equal to 125. So this is, don't worry about spellings. This is computing, and here you're bound to make spellings. So don't worry much about spellings. We are not concerned with spelling. This is not an English class. So we go and we say save. And now this file has been saved by the name of Fab2. The first one we had it by the name of Fab1. Okay. So this is how it works when we do simple addition, multiplication, division, and subtraction. So if any type of other program you have to write down, then you can write it down using this. For example, if you want to calculate simple interest or compound interest, you can do any type of mathematical function. I'll do one and I'll show it to you how we use it within a particular program for all of your interest. So first let me copy this structure into a new program. I say copy it. Now you go into file and you say new. And now I go and I paste the structure here. Okay. And from here, now let me say a simple program to calculate simple interest. You can do any mathematical calculation, or you can apply any type of mathematical function whenever you are using any type of numeric value. Okay. So coming to this, let us take a simple program of how to calculate, let us say, compound interest, a simple interest. We will do also on your own basis any type of mathematical conversions, that is uh, volume of a rectangle block, surface area of a rectangle block, perimeter and circumference of a circle, conversion of Fahrenheit to centigrade. All these are in your maths books, and all these conversions are possible. You can apply all these and find the answer using a simple program. So I'll do one program of simple interest and then you can do the rest. So for now, I'll fix one value with a constant and then I'll change the variables of time and rate. And after that, we will try and again input the value of the amount. Okay. So let P for principal amount is equal to 5,000. Okay. Input time to T, input rate to R. So these are the three things you require: P, R, and T. Now we'll say let SI, we take simple interest, is equal to P into R into T divided by 100. This is the formula for simple interest. And now I'll use print principal amount. This is not your school principal, please. This is the principal amount we are printing. So principal amount, print time period T, print rate of interest to R. So like we have inputted these values after calculation, we have printed this, and along with this, now we'll also print the simple interest to SI, and if you want, we can also calculate the total amount. So for total amount, what we'll do is once we get the simple interest, we'll add it to the P. So what we'll do is we'll insert over here, let A for amount. Always take variables with a single name, and P plus SI. Now this value is your P, whatever you will get from here, SI, whatever you will get from here will be stored to A. And now we'll say print total amount to variables A. And last of all, we'll say end. Okay. So we have written a small little program where we have fixed the value of PS 5000. We have used it as a numeric constant. These are numeric variables. Now we'll run this program and see what the output is. So let us start. It takes a little time to execute. So directly it is asking us for a time. It is not asking for the P because P is already fixed. So we'll give a time period. Let us say 7 years. Let us give us the rate of 8%. You can give decimals also if you wish to. 8.5, and you'll see over here, principal amount was 5,000, which you got here. Time period was 7 years, which you had entered, or 7 months, or whatever you want to presume it as. Rate was 8.5. Simple interest was 2,975. This was your simple interest which I had calculated on SI. And amount, the total amount, that is this amount plus your simple interest, that is your total amount which you will get back is 7,975. So adding this amount to 5,000, you get the total amount. So this is, now what happens is, this program, you have fixed the principal amount. So all you can do the next time is run it, you can only change the time and the rate. You can't change the amount. So if I want to change the amount, now I'll make a little modification, and over here, all I'll do is, I'll use the input statement like I told you earlier. And I'll say input principal to P. Now by doing this, I have left this value as an open value where I can enter it. So we'll run this program and we'll see what happens. It is the speed of the processor basically which takes a little time. My processor is a little loaded, so it may be taking a little time. Now principal amount, this time it is asking you because we have asked to input it. Now I can change it. Suppose I change it to 23,450. Okay. And I get the time period as 3.6. And I get the rate as 7.5. You can see over here, the principal amount 23,450, a time period of 3.6, rate 7.5, simple interest is 6,331.5, and total amount is 29,781. If you add total of these two, you will get this total. Okay, so this is how all of you are going to write down programs of your own using mathematical operators. You can use whatever operator is required. I showed you how to use it, and you can store the values either to a variable or you can store it to a constant. Now in this case, we only use numbers. If you want to use a string, you can also input a string. Suppose I wanted to use a string and I wanted, let me say, the name over here. So I'll say input customer name, and suppose I say over here $N. Now I have to use $N because it is a string, and over here while printing I'll also print over here print customer name to $N. The same variable which I've used here to input, I will print it out. Now you run this program and say start. Okay, it's asking me for customer name. So let me say any name I want to take. Let me take Ajay Sharma, principal, any amount I'm entering. Let me take a smaller value. It will be easy for you. You can enter values then according to your own choice. Okay, 23. Time, let me just keep it at 4. Rate 2. So name Ajay Sharma, principal amount, period, rate of interest, simple interest worked up to 188. Now what is happening is this is giving you a continuous. So for that, if you want to get rid of this, what you can do here is just put this type of a symbol, okay, and keep a little space here. So now when you run it at the time of entering, and you run it, now I'll enter. It is a variable, so I can keep changing the name whatever I wish to. Suppose I write over here now Nitin Kumar, principal 1870, time 8, rate of interest 9.5. You'll see customer name Nitin Kumar, principal amount, time period, rate of interest, simple interest, and total amount. So this is what I have executed, and I am showing you on. You can correlate and see accordingly. This is your input statements. These are your print statements, and you can see it very clearly and specifically. Now here what is happening is, since you are not getting, I told you, you want to have a clear screen over here and only want this. So here what you do is, after you have calculated all this, you can put over here a CLS statement. You can insert a CLS statement before the print statement begins over here. We'll need to shut this down first, otherwise the entries will not come, and then we'll put a CLS. So now what will happen is all these statements after entering will clear up and you will get your output only on the screen. I'll run it to you once again and show it. Any values over here, you can just see. Okay, customer name, let us say Manoj, principal 1346. Any amount you can keep putting, okay? It doesn't matter. I am using anything I wish to. So you can see now it is only displaying the print statement. Why? Because I put a CLS over here. So this statements will clear and only the print statements which are relevant will display. So only you will have the print statements displaying to you. So I hope this is clear with all of you as to how to use mathematical operators and use them in different formulas of your own. Please take out all the formulas which you may have studied in class 6. You have your class 6 maths book. All of you know the different formulas, how you have calculated them last year, whether you are talking of surface area and volume of a rectangle block, like I said, or circumference and perimeter of a circle, or even conversion of temperature, or for that matter, simple interest, compound interest, or cone. Whatever you have done, you may apply those and write a program of your own and apply all the calculations, and you will get the correct result. So I want all of you to try this out, because once you have this coding, your coding ahead which you're going to study, that is in class 7, will be much easier. When you're asked to write programs, to make calculations, or in the further classes when you're asked to prepare your own project, whether it be related to electricity bill, water bill, or for that matter, even preparation of mark sheets, you know exactly what to do. So this, of course, is only in QBasic. You'll be studying a different programming language in the form of Python, etc. But fundamentals of all programming languages are the same. So you need to have your fundamentals clear. So this was as regards. Now I'll go into file, and this program, I will save it. You can keep saving it, but click save as. If you say save, it will save by the same name. You click save as. Now here it is asking you, I told you yesterday, you have to write your program by the name, whatever name. I'm giving it fab3.bas. Please don't forget to put this extension name. When you're clicking on save as, in the file name section, I've given this is your file name and .bas is your extension name for basic. Like you have for your documents, you have docx. For PowerPoint, you have pptx. Similarly, for basic, you have the extension name .bas. And the path is where it is going and saving is F. There is a folder in my computer where it is saving in the drive F, 10 softwares, QB, and within that it is saving in this particular folder. So this is the entire path. Path means the destination where this program is being saved. All of you are quite familiar with that. And you say, okay. So now you will see over here, this program is saved by the name of fab3. Untitled is being removed and it is being saved by the name of fab3.bas. So this is how you will use the different types of mathematical operators. I have used a combination. I showed you how to use it simply with two values, and now I'm showing it to you how to use it in different types of formulas. As far as relational operators are concerned, relational operators only give you the value of 0 or minus 1. 0 if the condition is true, 0 if the condition is false, and minus 1 if the condition is true. So I'll run one program for you and just show it to you as to what value does a relational operator retain. But basically, relational operators, whenever they are used to set relations. So let me write a simple program and then I'll come on to the other section of my programming. I have to copy this, otherwise your screen size will become small. So I'm opening a new program. You need not do this part. This is not meant for you. It is only meant for my convenience. Now here I will take input first number. Let us change the value to A, and input second number. I have not given a value, so it will, whenever there is an error, it will display in a red color line. Okay, so here input first number, input second number. Two numbers we are inputting, A and B. Now, just to show you simply, if these two numbers are inputted, and I'll say now print, we'll set the different relations. A greater than B, print A less than B. We don't use the let statement, we are using the print statement here. Print A equal to B, print A not equal to B, print A less than equal to B and print A greater than equal to B. These are the different types of relations which we have between any two values. So we'll run this program and enter any two values and just pay attention to what values will be displayed. So I'll show it to you here. Just two simple values, 5 and second number is 2. And I press enter key. Now what I was trying to tell you is this. First number 5, second number is 2. Now in this case, A is greater than B, condition is true, so it will retain -1. A is less than B, the condition is false. 5 is not less than 2, so 0. So whenever the value is 0, it will come, or whenever it is false, it will come as 0. A is equal to B, 5 is not equal to 2, hence 0. A is not equal to B, 5 is not equal to 2, so true, and true means -1. A is less than or equal to B. 5 is less than or equal to 2? No. So 0. A is greater than or equal to either of this one condition. These are double conditions. Either condition is satisfied, then the value is true. So this is not shown in your book. I am telling you how to check for relation operators. You will not get the value printed as true or false over here. Nobody will print this value as true and false for you. So what you will get retained over here will be the value of -1 or 0. So this is what you will get displayed. So whenever it is -1, it means that this particular condition, we'll change the condition once again. I'll change the values and we'll see how these conditions will change. Once again, let me run the program. And this time I'll take the value of A as 7 and the second value as 9. Now in this case, B is larger, so we'll see how the values intercept. So A is greater than B, it's become false. Last time it was true. A is less than B, true. A is equal to B, false. A is not equal to B, true. A is less than equal to B, it is less than, 7 is less than 9, so it is true. A is greater than or equal to B, false. And we'll take one more value where we'll give them both equal and we'll see how the conditions will change. So let us run this program once more and we'll give both the values equal and we'll see. So this is how you check for relational operators. Let me give first value 5, second value also 5, and I press enter and you'll see over here. A is greater than B, false. A is less than B, false. A is equal to B, true. A is not equal to B, false. A is less than, no, but equal to B, true. And in this case also, A is greater than, no, but is it equal to B? So either condition is satisfied. When you have less than or greater than, it becomes true. So these are relational operators which all of us are studying about. So today I don't think I will go any further because I want you all to practice whatever I have explained in these two classes. And in my next class, I'll be taking conditional statements. That is how to give a conditional statement using if, then, else. The statement itself is a conditional statement. I am not talking of conditions. I am not talking of conditional operators. Today what we studied are conditional operators. Less than, equal to, greater than. These are operators. Like addition, multiplication, subtraction, division. These are also operators. So I am not talking of operators. I am talking of the conditional statement. And conditional statement, we will use if, then, else, and I will also demonstrate to you else if condition. That is, sometimes you are faced whether you have two conditions. For example, is, let us say, are you a boy or a girl? Now there are two conditions here attached. You can be either a male or a female in gender, right? But sometimes you may have more than two conditions. You may have three, you may have four. For example, all of you in your school have a particular house. You belong to either of the houses. That is either the red house, the blue house, the green house, or the gold house. So there are four conditions here. So when you have to choose the correct one out of the four, then in that case we use if, then, else, if. And when there is only two conditions, we use the if, then, else. So this is just theoretically. I will demonstrate to you. I know it is not easy to understand by me just giving it to you theoretically. But what I want you all to do is, on your 6th class book, I want you all to open out to page 157. And it's given over there. We studied it last time even. However, I had not given it for the exams, and neither I had explained it in detail. But this time we will be going further. So please read through if, then, else, and if, then, else, if. So this is a conditional statement of the 6th class portion and the last topic, and we will be completing this whenever we meet in our next class. But before I forget, please apply all these arithmetical and relational operators. Try and apply them in your own way, and try and apply them to different types of formulas. You all have done a lot of calculations in class 6 in mathematics. So all those mathematics, whatever you have formulas, all can be written as a program. So it's only when you practice it will you understand it better. So I want all of you to sincerely sit and at least write at least minimum 4 to 5 programs by my next class, so that you are very clear with your concepts when it comes to using different type of arithmetical operators and relational operators, however, using numeric and string variables and constants. So that is all for now. I hope this class has been informative and interesting. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all the best. Hope to see you next week. Goodbye then everybody.